In the year 2000, Blockbuster was valued at roughly $5 billion, operating more than 9,000 stores worldwide, dominating Friday nights across America. That same year, a struggling startup called Netflix offered to sell itself to Blockbuster for just $50 million, barely a rounding error for the video giant. Blockbuster laughed them out of the room. Fast forward 2 decades, Netflix is now worth over $150 billion, streaming into nearly every home on the planet, while Blockbuster is all but extinct. So how did a titan fall so hard, so fast? And how did a tiny, desperate company turn rejection into domination? Stay with me, this isn't just a business story. It's a real-world tragedy about arrogance, missed opportunities, and the brutal speed of change. In the mid-'80s, when VCRs were booming and families were building entire weekends around movie nights, David Cook opened the first Blockbuster in Dallas, Texas. But this wasn't your average mom-and-pop video shop squeezed into a strip mall. Blockbuster was a machine, built for speed, scale, and domination. Uniformed employees greeted you at the door. Endless rows of neatly arranged tapes stretched down bright, clean aisles. Everything screamed efficiency, professionalism, and big business polish. It didn't take long for Blockbuster to become a habit, a ritual. Pick a movie, grab some candy, argue over who gets to choose, and head home for a night of entertainment. It wasn't just renting a film, it was participating in something bigger, a cultural experience. By 2004, Blockbuster wasn't just big, it was global. Over 9,000 stores spread across continents. More than 84,000 employees proudly wearing the iconic blue and yellow badge. They weren't just renting movies. They were renting out entire family memories, and behind all the smiles, their real power came from a brutal side business: late fees. Late returns pulled in nearly $800 million a year, not a side hustle, but a major revenue stream. That's right, hundreds of millions just from people forgetting to return a tape on time. And while the money kept pouring in, Blockbuster stopped looking over its shoulder. They didn't see competition coming. They thought they were invincible. They thought they were the future. While Blockbuster sat on a golden throne, counting cash and opening new locations like clockwork, across the country in a small office in 1997, 2 guys, Reed Hastings and Mark Randolph, were trying to keep a dream alive. Netflix wasn't flashy. There were no neon signs or late-night crowds, just a basic website, stacks of DVDs and boxes, and a vision that most people thought was crazy. Early on, Netflix struggled badly. Customers weren't ready to trust the postal system with their precious movie nights. People liked the instant satisfaction Blockbuster offered: grab a tape, go home, watch it that same night. But Hastings and Randolph weren't chasing quick wins. They were building something bigger, something different. In 1999, they launched a bold new subscription model: unlimited rentals, 1 flat monthly fee, no due dates, no late charges. A radical concept in a world where late fees were practically an industry standard. While Blockbuster was busy punishing customers for being a day late, Netflix was offering something else: freedom, convenience, trust. Quietly, without a lot of noise, they started planting seeds, not by being bigger, not by opening more locations, but by being better for the customer. And those seeds, watered with patience and vision, would soon change everything. In 2000, bleeding cash and desperate for a lifeline, Reed Hastings flew to Dallas to meet Blockbuster's executives. Sitting stiffly across the table from CEO John Antioco, Netflix made their pitch. They would handle Blockbuster's online operations, guide them into the internet era, and Blockbuster could dominate both the physical and digital worlds. For $50 million, Netflix could become a part of the Blockbuster empire. But Antioco and his team didn't bite. Instead, they actually laughed at the idea. Netflix was losing money. Blockbuster was raking it in. Why even waste time? Hastings and Randolph walked away with nothing but rejection burning in their minds. And right there, in that moment of arrogance, history split in two: one path leading to Netflix's rise, and the other to Blockbuster's tragic downfall. Even after that fateful meeting, warning signs were flashing like neon lights. Customers were grumbling louder and louder about late fees. Internet usage was skyrocketing. Home entertainment was shifting under everyone's feet. Netflix leaned hard into the internet, offering faster shipping, smarter recommendations, and a no-hassle customer-first experience. Every improvement they made pulled people further away from the old model. Blockbuster? They stayed the course. Confident, comfortable. They didn't launch their own online rental service until 2004, a full 4 years after Netflix had already carved out a loyal customer base that wasn't looking back. And even then, Blockbuster clung stubbornly to the old ways, refusing to fully ditch late fees, still prioritizing foot traffic to physical stores over embracing innovation. They thought customers wouldn't change. They thought loyalty was permanent. But customers were already halfway out the door, running toward a future Blockbuster refused to see. John Antioco, realizing the threat Netflix posed, tried to pivot in 2004. He pushed hard to eliminate late fees, ramp up online services, and modernize the company's outdated approach. But behind closed doors, Blockbuster's board wasn't on the same page. Internal battles slowed progress to a crawl. Every move Antioco made toward innovation met resistance from people clinging to the old profit models. In 2007, tired of the tension, the board ousted Antioco. His replacement, James Keyes, brought in a new vision, and it turned out to be the wrong one. Keyes came from 7-Eleven, a company built on brick-and-mortar success, and he believed Blockbuster's future wasn't online, but inside the stores. He doubled down on physical expansion, snacks, and in-store promotions. While Netflix was quietly preparing for a world where streaming would dominate, Blockbuster was busy stocking candy bars and energy drinks. It was a fatal miscalculation, one they wouldn't get a second chance to fix. By 2010, the cracks that everyone once ignored had turned into full-blown earthquakes. Blockbuster wasn't just slipping, it was collapsing. They were hemorrhaging cash, shutting down stores, and losing customers by the thousands. Their old revenue streams, late fees, impulse rentals, concessions dried up almost overnight. The burden of almost $1 billion in debt crushed them under its weight. There was no rescue coming. In September 2010, Blockbuster officially filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection. It was a stunning fall from grace. A company once valued at $5 billion sold its remaining scraps to Dish Network for just $320 million, a fraction of what it had once commanded. Dish tried to breathe life back into a few remaining stores, but it was a losing battle. The customers had already moved on. Netflix had moved forward, pioneering the very future Blockbuster laughed at. By 2014, Blockbuster's last corporate-owned store closed its doors for good. The empire didn't just fall, it disintegrated into dust. Today, there's only one Blockbuster left. Bend, Oregon. A time capsule tucked away in a small town, clinging to a legacy that once stretched across the world. A shrine to a simpler era, when Friday nights meant wandering endless aisles under buzzing fluorescent lights. Tourists now flock to it, snapping photos, buying souvenirs, renting movies just for the nostalgia. Locals still rent from it, almost like paying tribute to a time before streaming swallowed everything whole. The aisles are the same, worn but familiar. The smell of popcorn lingers heavy in the air. The yellow and blue logo still glows proudly against the fading sky. It's a place frozen in time, a monument to what once was. It's not really a company anymore. It's a memory, a bittersweet reminder that even giants, even empires that once seemed too big to fail can fall if they stop moving forward. Blockbuster didn't die because Netflix had better movies or a bigger budget. It died because Blockbuster believed it was invincible. They thought size alone would protect them. They thought they had time. They thought customers would stay loyal just because they always had. But the world changes fast. People change faster. Netflix wasn't just selling movies. They were selling convenience, flexibility, control, things people didn't even realize they craved until they had them. Meanwhile, Blockbuster was still selling inconvenience and charging extra for it through late fees and outdated policies. By the time Blockbuster realized they needed to change, it wasn't about competing with Netflix anymore. It wasn't about catching up. It was about survival. And for them, survival was already out of reach. Because in business, arrogance doesn't just slow you down, it writes your ending before you even know you're losing the race. One meeting, one laugh, one colossal mistake. Blockbuster didn't just miss an opportunity, they missed the future staring them right in the face. And that's the real lesson here. Size, history, and brand loyalty mean nothing if you stop listening, stop adapting, and start laughing at tomorrow's ideas. If you loved this real-life business thriller, smash that like button, share it with someone who remembers Friday nights spent picking out movies, and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit the bell icon too, because more stories like this are coming. And trust me, you won't want to miss them.